More than 3 years after the Switch's release, the First Lady of Digital Pop has finally landed on Nintendo's popular portable console with Hatsune Miku Project DIVA Mega Mix. Featuring a hefty 101 songs in the base game alongside an exclusive new gameplay mode built for the Switch's motion controls, there's a ton of content included in Project DIVA Mega Mix, but does it hit the same high notes as many of its predecessors? Before we answer that question, let's back up a bit. For the uninitiated, the Project DIVA series' gameplay, like many Japanese rhythm games, is all about beat matching. As you play a song, various target icons pop up around the screen in myriad patterns, indicating which buttons you need to press and in what order as the song progresses. Of course, being a rhythm game, it's not just about which buttons you press, but when, with the game judging each press according to how closely you match the intended beat on a scale from cool all the way down to miss. The score and associated grade you receive at the end of a song are determined by how many targets you're able to hit with the proper timing, but on the other hand, miss too many targets and your life gauge will drop to 0, causing you to fail the song entirely. One of the best qualities of Project DIVA Mega Mix, and indeed the series in general, is that it's pretty accessible no matter how good at rhythm games you are. The vast majority of the game's songs can be played on a number of difficulty levels ranging from easy to extreme, with some songs featuring an ultra-hard extra extreme level for the truly hardcore Miku fans out there. While the game's easier charts stick to simpler rhythms and limit the number of different buttons you need to worry about pressing, allowing beginners to dip their toes in and still have a good time, harder difficulties become far more complex, incorporating all 4 face buttons as well as the shoulder buttons and analog sticks for special slide notes. In short, there's plenty of content here for players of all skill levels, keeping the gameplay fun and engaging no matter where you fall in the spectrum of rhythm game expertise. On a related note, pun very much intended, one of my favorite things about Megamix as a longtime Miku fan is how it extends an olive branch, or perhaps a leak in this case, to those who are used to playing this series on its native PlayStation platforms or in the arcade. You can choose between several sets of target icons in the game's settings, and while newcomers probably won't want to mess with this, the option to play with the square, X, circle, and triangle icons used in the PlayStation and arcade versions is a smart inclusion, ensuring that players weaned on those platforms don't have to relearn everything from the ground up. So if you were wondering why you've been seeing PlayStation-style icons in my review footage, well, now you know. As I mentioned earlier, Project DIVA Mega Mix brings with it a new and exclusive gameplay mode for the series' debut on the Switch. Called Mix Mode, this alternative gameplay style utilizes the gyroscopes in both Joy-Con controllers. The goal here is to tilt both Joy-Cons so that their associated bars at the bottom of the screen catch the color-coded beat icons as they fall downward while also pressing the proper shoulder button in time with each beat. If the Joy-Con bars aren't in the right positions to overlap with the beat icons, or if you fail to hit the associated shoulder buttons with the proper timing even if they are, that counts as a miss, and as usual, if you miss too many beats, you'll fail the song. Surprisingly, Mix Mode doesn't feel like the afterthought I feared it might when I first tried it. There's more depth here than you might expect. Every song in the game is playable in Mix Mode, with 3 difficulty levels available for each and separate online leaderboards exclusive to this mode. Also, in a smart move, not only are scoring and timing requirements relaxed in this mode, likely due to the less precise nature of the motion controls, only the right Joy-Con is used when playing songs on easy, making Mix Mode simple to get into even for players who would otherwise balk at the idea of motion controls in a rhythm game. While the motion controls aren't perfect and are subject to naturally existing Joy-Con issues like drift and blocked signals, they're honestly quite solid. So solid, in fact, that I was passing songs on normal and even some on hard with respectable scores after maybe half an hour of practice. All told, Mix Mode justifies its own existence much more than I initially thought it would, and while it might come off as little more than a quick diversion for veteran Miku players who prefer the tried-and-true arcade mode gameplay, there's some good fun to be had here for those willing to try something different, even if you do have to grapple with occasionally jerky controls caused by the Joy-Con's own flaws. Speaking of controls, I've spent plenty of time playing Project DIVA Mega Mix's regular arcade mode with both the Switch Pro controller and separated Joy-Cons, and the precise nature of Project DIVA's gameplay translates pretty well to both options. It's not perfect, with the occasional phantom input causing me to drop a combo, but by and large, Project DIVA feels pretty good to play on the Switch even if fans weaned on the PlayStation versions may sometimes find themselves pining for a DualShock 3 or 4. Another minor blemish arises in the form of Megamix's load times, which are kind of all over the place. Some transitions are impressively instantaneous, like returning to the song list after finishing or quitting out of a song. But on the other hand, I've found that it can take over 30 seconds for gameplay to start after selecting some songs, leading to a lot more downtime than I would like during extended gameplay sessions. This isn't true of every song, and some tracks load more quickly, in 6 to 10 seconds, but the longer loading times can start to grate on you after a while. Those issues aside though, there's no doubt that Project DIVA Mega Mix is a strong overall package, with plenty of content in the form of 101 songs playable at multiple difficulty levels across arcade and mix mode. But how interesting that content actually is largely depends on how much Miku you've played in the past. Project DIVA Mega Mix is essentially a pared-down, portable version of the PS4's Project DIVA Future Tone, with less than half of that version's 224 songs and a largely similar interface. On top of that, only 10 of Mega Mix's 101 songs are actually new to the series, while the remaining 91 songs have appeared in at least one previous Miku game. Now obviously, if you haven't played any of those previous games, all of Mega Mix's content is going to be completely new to you, and that's fantastic. But for someone like me who's been on the Miku train since Project DIVA F way back on the PS3 and PS Vita, some of these songs are appearing for the third or even fourth time. As a result, it's impossible to deny that Mega Mix often feels just a little too familiar for returning fans, especially those who still play a lot of Future Tone. Still, taken as a whole, Mega Mix's tracklist covers a nice variety of musical genres and includes many of my favorite Vocaloid bangers from previous games, like Tell Your World, Freely Tomorrow, and Decorator. And while the focus is clearly on Miku herself, fans of her fellow Vocaloids Rin, Lin, Luca, Kaito, and Meiko will find decent representation in the music selection for them as well. Also returning from Future Tone is the game's customization mode, which offers a staggering number of options for altering the appearance of each Vocaloid. And when I say staggering, I really mean it. Between modules, which are essentially outfits and in some cases alternate characters, as well as hairstyles and accessories, there are over 700 obtainable items that can be mixed and matched to customize your Vocaloids. These items are bought with Vocaloid points, or VP for short, which are earned by completing songs in arcade and mix mode. And with Project DIVA Mega Mix offering little in the way of unlocks other than the hard and extreme difficulties for each song, earning VP to complete your collection of modules and accessories makes for a nice additional goal to shoot for beyond just completing each song and improving your scores. For those who are really into this side of the game and enjoy fine-tuning the appearance of each Vocaloid on a song-by-song basis, this mode is the strongest it's ever been, and you'll find a lot to love here. You can even create your own t-shirt designs for the Vocaloids to wear, and the drawing interface makes full use of the Switch's touchscreen in handheld mode, which is a cool bonus. But if you play these games mainly for the rhythm game and music elements, which is the camp I fall into, it has to be said that the value of this mode and VP in general is very limited and could cheapen the overall package for some players. Still, the core rhythm gameplay remains as fun, challenging, and rewarding as ever, and it has to be said that Mega Mix looks great and runs incredibly well in both TV and handheld mode. The impossibly vivid, hyper-colorful anime aesthetic these games are known for is reproduced faithfully in Mega Mix, with the music videos and dance routines associated with each song being a real treat for the eyes whether you're playing on a TV or the Switch's own screen. Most importantly though, in my experience, the gameplay itself runs at a flawless 60 frames per second in TV and handheld mode alike. Honestly, to have a Project DIVA game that looks this good and runs so well in a portable format is no small thing. While it's true that the music videos for some songs, like Shake It and Alien Alien, are cut in half to 30 frames per second and play at a lower resolution in handheld mode, and some music videos also run at 30 FPS when playing mix mode, they still look pretty great all things considered, and other songs, like Catch the Wave, manage a full 60 FPS even when playing on the go. By and large, Hatsune Miku Project DIVA Mega Mix represents a strong Nintendo Switch debut for the digital pop star and is an easy recommendation for rhythm game fans. I like it a lot. While veteran Miku players might find the overall package to be a little too familiar and some minor control issues as well as long loading times bring the experience down a bit, the series' signature gameplay is as fun, engaging, and rewarding as ever, and it carries over to the Switch very well. Meanwhile, Mix Mode is a welcome addition and less gimmicky than you might expect, making for a well-built, consistently entertaining diversion even if the main arcade mode remains the star of the show. And with just over 100 songs in the base game and more than 700 customization items to earn for your Vocaloids, you're getting a ton of bang for your buck here. On a console that's already awash with all kinds of rhythm games, Hatsune Miku Project DIVA Mega Mix still manages to stand out from the crowd with some of the best gameplay in the genre, immensely enjoyable music, and a strikingly colorful, upbeat aesthetic, making it abundantly clear why Miku continues to endure and flourish over a decade after her debut. Hey, thanks so much for watching! If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell to get notified when we upload new content. In the meantime, keep it on GameXplain for more on Hatsune Miku, the Nintendo Switch, and all things gaming.